Today we're going to talk about how to build email drip campaigns. First, let's start out with what exactly is a drip campaign. And a drip campaign is basically a marketing campaign that sends multiple messages to a prospect over a period of time. And the goals of a drip campaign, there's multiple goals. The ultimate or optimum goal would be to trigger a response. You put a prospect on a campaign, they receive an email, and you get a response. But that doesn't always happen, and that's okay, because what we're also trying to do is we might be trying to educate the prospect in a number of different areas. We're trying to build interest on the prospect side for what we have to offer, and we're also trying to stay fresh in the prospect's mind. And why are we trying to do some of these things, and why is this so critical, is that a lot of times when we first engage with a prospect, the answer to moving forward in our sales process or to buying from us is no. But the reality is that the majority of the time it's not a definitive no, I never want to buy from you. The majority of the time it's a no, not right now. Maybe things are working okay, they don't have budget. It's just not the right time. The odds of you mathematically timing it perfectly so that you call the prospect or you cross paths with the prospect at the exact perfect time. Now, granted, if they're contacting you, that's a different story. It's a lot easier for you to time it perfectly when they're contacting you. But if you're reaching out to them in an outbound manner, it's difficult to time it perfectly. So you need a way to stay in contact with the prospect and stay fresh in their mind. Meaning, if you cross paths with them and it's not the right time, and then you go away, you want to be there in their mind when the time is right. And of course, you can try to be there by calling them back and checking back in, but even then, it's still challenging to time it perfectly. So what email drip campaigns can do is help you to stay fresh in the prospect's mind. And another reason why these are important is that you likely have a lot of information that you want to share with a prospect. There's when you factor in all the products and services that you sell and all the things that they do and all the problems that you resolve and the ways that you've helped other clients, and if you just added up everything that you want to communicate, it's probably a lot. And it's probably way too much to communicate in an email, one email. And it's way too much to communicate in one brief conversation. So what an email campaign, a drip campaign, allows you to do is divide that big message up across multiple emails and drip it to the prospect over a period of time and over a period of over a set of emails. So that's another reason why a drip campaign is extremely important and helpful. The first thing that you want to do as you try to build out your email drip campaign structure, and let me start out by saying it's likely, if you're watching this, that you do some sort of email drip campaign already. Maybe there's a company newsletter or some sort of emails that you're blasting out. And I think that the most common mistake is that it's sort of a shortcut, which is we create marketing emails and we send them to everybody. And the reality is that you have different segments of your total audience, and you really, for example, you might have suspects who don't know who you are. You have prospects that you're trying to get their business. You have clients who you're currently working with. You have past clients. You can slice and dice it in a number of different ways. And the important thing here is that each of those segments should be communicated in a different way. Maybe not so much in a different way, but you should be communicating different things to those audiences. Quick example, you want to communicate different messages to somebody that you've never done business with versus someone who's done business with you but they've gone away, right? One is let's just look at the latter message. The latter message is come back, and here are some discounts to come back, right? You wouldn't want to offer those discounts that you're going to offer to your past clients to your new clients. So you really need to segment the audience, and then really what that allows you to do is really build campaigns and messages that are really tailored to those different segments. Here's an example of one way that we have sliced our segments that we target. And the first segment is new prospects. So these are target prospects that basically don't know who we are. This might be a cold list that we buy from a list broker or get from one of our partners called leadferret.com, where we'll pull a list of 1,000 prospects who don't know anything about us, right? Now, hot prospects are prospects that we've talked to and we're engaged with. We might have a meeting on the calendar. We've already met. We got an opportunity in the pipeline. Those are our hot prospects. Then you have warm prospects, which are we've met with, we've spoken to, they know who we are, but they're not really saying yes and they're not really saying no. They're on the fence. Maybe there's a fit, maybe now's not the right time, maybe they're asking for more information, so they're kind of warmish. You have cold prospects, which basically say they're not saying no, and they're not saying never in terms of their purchasing potential. They're just saying, I'm not buying anything in the near future at all. These are the prospects that might say, call me in a year, I'm in a contract and there's nothing I can do and it doesn't make sense for us to talk. So they're cold prospects. The next category is closed prospects, and you can maybe get these confused with cold prospects, but closed prospects are the prospects that say, I'm never purchasing from you ever. They might even tell you to stop calling them, right? So this is a segment, and it's important to have this segment there because sometimes you need to track who you should not call and who you should not email, so that you're sure not to market to them. So even knowing we don't really need any campaigns for the closed prospects, we need to know who they are, keep track of them. Current clients, pretty self-explanatory. We're currently doing business with them. Past clients, they were buying from us at some point, no longer are. Referral partners. These are businesses. These are other businesses that we work closely with, right? Now we need to market to these businesses, right? So if you have a connection and they send a lead over to you, and they could do that again in the future, you need to stay fresh in their mind, right? So we need to market to them as well, and that should give you a good example of why segmentation is so important. We don't really need to send our referral partners the type of stuff that we send to new prospects, right? We just need to stay fresh and stay on their radar. So that's a little bit about segmentation. Once you've divided the segments of your audience, then one thing that you can do is basically what you can do is you can create campaigns for those different audiences. What we do is we create campaign tiers. And so instead of just creating a campaign for new and a campaign for past clients and a campaign for referral partners, we create tiers, and what this allows us to do is create different levels of campaigns, and we can actually send those to multiple segments. Meaning, so if you look here are some examples of our 5-tiered approach. Tier 1 is for lead generation. Tier 2 is building interest. Tier 3 is cross-selling. Tier 4 is staying in touch. Tier 5 is we want you back. I'll go through these in more detail. Got a slide on each in here. But just a quick example, staying in touch, Tier 4, we need to send that to a lot of different segments. So these aren't just a tier for each, or a campaign for each segment. Some, in terms of the segment of the audience, we want to send the Tier 4 to just about everybody, right? So we'll talk about what that is, but let's just get into each of those one at a time. So here's Tier 1. So the goal here is to generate leads, and so the target here is going to be new prospects. So we have a product or service we want to sell, and these are these are the list of prospects that we want to engage with to generate leads. The focus of this content is going to be very much on the prospect, because we don't know, the prospect doesn't know who we are, so we don't want to send them a bunch of emails that say how great we are, right? We want to send them emails, and so there you can see here the type of content. We want to send them emails around how we can help them. which is the value you offer. We want to send them emails around the pain that you resolve, so the challenges they might be experiencing, and then we can send them some content around the qualifying questions, the pre-qualifying questions that we would typically ask them. And so you can see here some suggestions in terms of number of emails and frequency. Tier 2 is building interest. So this is, we want to send this campaign, this tier of campaign, to prospects that we've engaged with at some level. So ideally these are for our warm prospects, right? We don't necessarily need to send, we could send this to our hot prospects, but if I have a meeting on your calendar for next week and we're talking regularly, maybe I don't need to send you my marketing emails. You could, but maybe I'm going to kind of control that interaction a little bit more, and it's going to be I'm more engaged with you, so I don't really need to automate what I send you. But you could send these to hot prospects as well. But what's ideal for this campaign is these are the prospects that might say, well, send me more information, I'm not sure. Or they just say, well, I don't know if we I don't know when we can meet, right? They're on the fence. So the goal of this campaign is to educate, to build interest, to stay in touch, and you'll notice where it says content focus, now we get a little bit more less about the prospect and more about us, right? They know who we are, so now we can kind of talk about us. So we might talk about content subjects. Here are some examples of how you could get some good content developed. You look at your FAQ document, right, where if a frequently asked question is how long does it take to implement your software, that's something that a lot of customers, prospects ask. You could develop some content around that. Maybe an article or blog post that talks about how you can get up and running on your system without any professional services in a matter of hours, right? That's a good content piece, and that's the type of content you want to send to your warm prospects, not to your new prospects. So you can see objection responses. If you get an objection regularly, like let's say a regular objection is that there's concerns that around security when moving over to your platform. Well, that's an objection, and you might have a response to that, which is you provide some sort of authentication, right? And so you could create a content piece around how the use of authentication drives down any security risks, whatever, So, but that's an objection, and that's a response, and that can drive one of your emails in your drip campaign. And credibility might be an example of how you've helped another client. Great, a good opportunity for sharing a name drop case study, differentiation, how you're different, company facts, threats of doing nothing. So then someone says, well, send me some information. We put them on tier 2, which is building interest. Move to tier 3. This is really designed more for our current clients, right? So we got you on tier 2, and with our calling and our sales effort, we were able to close you. And now we put you on a tier 3 campaign, and what we're doing here is cross-selling. You purchase product A. Now I'm going to put you on a campaign that helps to build some interest for product B. And it's kind of similar to tier 2. It's just more of a focus on product number 2. So now we move on to tier 4, which is keeping in touch, and this is your typical newsletter, and we want to send this to everybody, including our referral partners, and you could send this on a monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly basis. But this is a good way for you to keep in touch with everybody, and it's informational, industry news, best practices, tips, and so that's a great way to stay in touch and not be too salesy, right? I mean, you need to send everybody all your product information, but that's just going to be your way to keep in touch. And then tier 5 is focused on your clients that came to you, bought, and maybe they've gone away. So this is kind of the we want you back campaign. It might have incentives and promotions to get the prospect back. You might have some of the similar content that was used to build interest. But objection responses and FAQs are good. Maybe those are some of the reasons that they left. So that's really good content. To maybe let them know something that they didn't know when they canceled. So those are the 5 tiers, and you'll notice there that what that provides is the structure for building out the campaigns. What you of course have to do is you have to build out content, and this can seem intimidating. What I would say to you is what you can do, and you can kind of do like a crawl, walk, run approach. Just start with a tier 1 campaign, and build a couple emails for that. And as you get going, then, and maybe as you start developing some warm prospects, then you build your tier 2, and then you start, building up some new, getting some new clients on board. Then you need to build your tier 3, and whatnot. So you can take it step by step. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to develop some sort of content, right? I mean, that's really what's going to make your drip campaign successful. So there's a quick and dirty approach to developing content, and that could be, if you have a content topic, like the example that I gave was how to decrease security concerns with authentication, right? So that's a topic. A quick and dirty approach would be you could send an email with just a few sentences on that subject, meaning like some people are concerned about the security with this type of software. Is that something you're concerned with? And you send that. I mean, I just rattled off 2 sentences, and that could be an email in a drip campaign with a question, trying to engage the prospect. And that might not be perfect, but how much time did I spend writing that as well? But it fits its role. That's the quick and dirty. Another quick and dirty could be we do a search and find external content that we didn't develop, like an article on CIO magazine, and we link our email to that saying, here's an interesting article on security risks without authentication or whatever. I thought you might like it. There you go. There's an email in your campaign that you can put in your campaign around one of the topics that fits in one of those tiers. Now, so that's the quick and dirty. The more thorough and detailed approach would be you could take that topic and you could write a blog post, or you could write an ebook, or you could produce a white paper, write an article. You could create a video. So these are a little bit more time consuming, a little bit more thorough. I think that out of those, maybe the blog post is the quickest. You could write a 350 word blog post in maybe an hour or so. So that can be quick, and some of those other options are more labor intensive. But once you basically create this content, you want to basically use email to distribute it. And the key thing here is that you don't really want all your content in the email. You ideally want a snippet. If you have a long piece of content, you would want to put a snippet of it, maybe a paragraph, a couple sentences, and then a link for the user to get more information, kind of like a teaser. You want to do that for a couple reasons. One is most email automation marketing software, you can track the clicks, and that's really good data for you to figure out who's interested in the content. If you put all the content in the email and they don't have to go anywhere, you don't know who's really interested. The other thing is that you want the email to be short, so it's not intimidating, it's not verbose, and so there's a lot of reasons to do that. And again, I kind of just touched on this topic, but distributing the content. If you're going to build campaigns, and this is sort of a no-brainer, but I guess we need to mention it, you'd want to use some sort of email marketing solution, and that will provide the framework to allow you to build campaigns. So you could, in our email marketing solution, we use a product called Sales Nexus. You actually see the campaigns listed out as Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, and then our salespeople are trained to know what those are. They're labeled as well, Tier 1 lead generation. But then when the salesperson is talking to someone, they can go in our email marketing solution software and click on the tier that is appropriate. And this software, using some sort of software, will allow you to manage your contact database. You can automate the delivery of future emails. So if you have an email that has 10 emails scheduled to go out over a period of months, it's typically the set it and forget it. You set it, you schedule it once, and then all those emails just take, they're all automated. So And then the great thing here is you get a lot of data by being able to track opens and clicks, and that can tell you who's interested, and it can also tell you how good your emails are designed based on that data. Real quick, you might notice that we're with Sales Scripter, and Sales Scripter is a web-based software that allows you to build scripts. But one of the really cool things that it also does, and I'll just show you this real quickly, is that this is Sales Scripter, and Sales Scripter basically allows you to answer some questions about what you sell and what you do, and your answers are then all linked to a library of documents. But one of our documents that we have is an email drip campaign guide. And so you'll notice here's the audience segmentation, the way that I shared with you in this presentation. And here's tier 1, and you can see these topics. See these topics here? These are coming from what the user answered when they filled out Sales Scripter. So there's value topics and pain topics. So right here, improve external and internal online communications. You could write a content piece on that. What is the cost of not having good external and internal online communications? You could find some angle to write something on each of these points. Now, you wouldn't want to do every point, but you can basically scroll through here, and if you want your email campaign to be 5 emails, you can very easily get 5 topics here and produce content. And then there's tier 2, building interest, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5. So if you were looking at the presentation when I was going through those tables there and said, well, that's interesting, but it's a lot to kind of swallow and digest, and you're thinking, can I get a copy of these slides? Well, the better way to go about it is check out Sales Scripter. You can sign up, and so here's a real simplified, this slide kind of has a simplified explanation of what it does, but Sales Scripter will kind of ask you, what do you sell? How does that help? What problems does that fix? What questions should you ask to see if someone needs that? That's kind of simplified, but basically when you answer those questions, those answers are linked to a number of different places and a number of different documents, and one of those documents being the email drip campaign guide. So along with getting that guide, you'd also get email templates. There's actually a picture here on the screen of a pre-call email template that's produced. So we were talking about producing content a minute ago. Sales Scripter will help you to produce some of that content through email templates and whatnot. So that's our little training module here on how to develop email drip campaigns. If you want more information, there's a book that I wrote on called the Cold Calling Equation, and you might say, well, we're here to talk about email, not really phone stuff. This is a good book, and it talks about all these principles such as value and pain and messaging. There's a chapter on email, cold emailing, and so you might want to check out this book. It aligns with the Sales Scripter. It aligns with everything that I spoke about today. It's only $15.95, $9.99 Kindle version on Amazon. We have a training program that aligns with all of these topics, and it's listed there. Check out Sales Scripter. We have a free version, allows you to sign up for free, check it out, test it out, and then the pay version is $19 a month. Check that out at salesscripter.com, and we have demonstrations every Thursday for Sales Scripter. That's it. I hope that helps. Let us know if you have any questions. We're here to help. Good luck and happy hunting.